My name is Kelsey and I'm going to talk to you today about the reading manual Toe by Toe. Now, Toe by Toe was created by my mother Keda Cowling over a 25-year period. She created the method herself. And I'm going to briefly explain the best way to use Toe by Toe. If you do have a copy of Toe by Toe, now might be a good idea to open it and look at the pages I'm going to describe. The early pages of Toe by Toe contain a lot of information about the book and the method and the history of its creation. However, you don't need to spend much time on that. The first exercise begins on page 13, and this is a typical format for a Toe by Toe exercise. If you notice here, we have a coach box on the left hand page. I'm assuming if you're watching this video you may well be the coach. All you need to do is read the instructions in the coach box and apply them to the exercise on the facing page. There's other information here which you may read if you wish, but it is not absolutely necessary. Read the coach box and apply the instructions to the facing page. This format continues throughout Toe by Toe. It's absolutely typical. For example, if we look here at page 89, you can see the same format. Here's the coach box, here's the exercise, apply the instructions to the exercise. I'll now show you in more detail exactly how Toe by Toe works. On page 9, we have an example page. Here you see the date with the grids, dates and grids across the page. On day 1, which may be a Monday, we place the date at the top of the page, in this case the 5th of September. Then we ask our student to read the letter sounds working down the page. U, H, K. This is very important that you use the sounds of the letters, not the names. We do not want U, H, C. We must have the sounds. U, H, K, X, E, etc. Remember to take your students' first response. Their first answer counts. Work your way down. If the student gets the letter sound correct, you place a tick. If they make a mistake, you place a dot. Very important that we use dots rather than crosses. Crosses symbolise failure. We use a tick and dot system. Work your way down, taking the first response from your student. G, D. Here we have the first mistake. Place a dot in the grid. Ask your student to say B, clearly B, and work your way down again, J, N, etc. Go to the next grid, place a date at the top, work your way down exactly the same way. M, K, O, D. No, that's wrong. Place a dot in the grid. Ask your student to say P. Work your way down, Qu, R, Z, etc. Taking the first answer, placing a tick or dot as appropriate. Do the same on the other grids, the 5th of September. We want to get some momentum. If, say, your lesson lasts for 20 minutes, move on to the next exercise, which actually occurs on page 15. You do exactly the same thing. Place the date at the top and work your way down, taking your student's first response. AF, AD. A mistake's been made, place a dot in the grid. Ask your student to say AB clearly. Work your way down, ticking or dotting as appropriate. The same on the other grids. Practice the dots before you leave the page. Move on to the next page and exactly the same again. Place the date at the top, work your way down the column, ticking or dotting as appropriate. You continue with this for as long as the lesson lasts. In this case, 20 minutes, and then you stop. That's day 1 lesson finished. Okay, day 2, possibly Tuesday, you do exactly the same thing again. If you look at the example page, place the date in the second grid, in this case the 6th of September, work your way down, taking your student's first response, ticking or dotting as appropriate. Work across the grid, practice the dots before you leave the page. Go on to the next page, page 15, place the date and tick or dot as appropriate, and continue for as long as you can for the 20-minute lesson. That's day 2 lesson finished. Place the date in the grid, the 7th of September, follow exactly the same procedure. Tick or dot, practice the dots before you leave the page, go on to the next exercise and work your way through for as long as you can for the allotted time period. Day 3 lesson finished. The 4th day is critical. Remember the toe-by-toe marking system, 3 consecutive ticks. On day 4, this is when things change. We place the date at the top, the 8th of September. A very important part of the toe-by-toe marking system, we are looking for 3 consecutive ticks. On day 4, any letter or skill with 3 consecutive ticks can be ignored. We can assume they're in the long-term memory. We're only interested in letter sounds that have had dots on a previous occasion. In this case, B, L, P, D, Sh, Th, Ch, K, etc. Continue onto the next page. Once again, you will ignore any letters or skills which have 3 consecutive ticks. Just ask your student to say the words that have had dots on a previous occasion. Practice the dots before you leave the page and keep going for as long as you can in the allotted time period. That's day 4 lesson finished. On day 5, here we have the date again, the 9th of September. Exactly the same procedure, any skill that's had a dot previously that doesn't have 3 consecutive ticks. B, L, D, Sh, etc. Follow the book structure, go on to the next exercise, do exactly the same thing. Ignore skills that have 3 consecutive ticks, just concentrate on dots. You may notice on the example page, page 9, that Sh does not have 3 consecutive ticks. Remember, that's what we need for each skill. We need a sense of momentum. Don't remain on the page. Place a ring round Sh and move it to the first of our multi-sensory pages. In this case, page 29. Here the coach will write Sh in the shaded area at the top of the column.